Hello, welcome to the webinar. Nice to see that you've all made it here today, and thank you for being patient and waiting with us. I can see you've all successfully logged in now, and looks like everybody here today is from Canada, so welcome from Canada. Good morning to you. It's the afternoon here. If you've got any questions throughout this session, you can ask them on the panel at the right-hand side of your screen. But just so you know, there will be a section at the end for question and answers, so do hold tight with us. So firstly, I just want to introduce myself. My name is Ruby. I'm the membership manager here at PARN. And I'm going to talk you through some of the benefits of becoming a digital member with us. And then I'm going to pass you on to Professor Andy Friedman, who is the CEO of PARN. So firstly, let's just talk a bit about who we are and what's our aims to sort of support the professional body sector. So we think of ourselves as the organisation for the professional body sector. We're a non-profit organisation, so this means that all of the funds that we make go back into our research projects, and looking after our members. We conduct best practice research, and this promotes best practice, equips professional bodies to deal with the common everyday challenges of the work that they're doing. What really sets us apart from sort of other membership organisations is that everything that we do is research-led. So we've been conducting this research for sort of 15 years since our establishment in 1998. So long-standing, and all of this research is available to our members through the members area of our website. So let's just talk a bit about why you would join PARN as a digital member. We sort of brought about this change because we realised that there was a need to sort of bring better value for our overseas professional bodies. Obviously, you're not able to make it to our events and training, and we wanted to make sure that you were still able to access our research and our resources online, and take advantage of discounts on publications and things like that. So we really just wanted to make sure that everyone around the world is able to be part of this active network of professional bodies sharing best practice. So that's sort of why we've made this change. So let's talk a bit about the member benefits. I know that some of you are past members of PARN, so you can see that some things have changed. Obviously, it's significantly cheaper now for you to be a member with PARN. So let's just go through some of the things that we're going to be offering you. We're still going to be giving you free publications, so we'll send you 2 free publications a year. And these are usually based on our big research projects. So they're worth £80 in sort of net value, which is obviously a sizable benefit to PARN membership. And as well as these free books, we also offer a discount on all of our books online, and there's over 30 publications on there on various different subjects. So I'm sure that is also sort of a very good benefit really for any overseas members. So as well as that, we've got sort of PDF copies of our reports online, our financial benchmarking report, which we'll also be planning to hold a webinar on later on in the year. So another member benefit is Ask the Network surveys, and these are basically mini benchmarking surveys which you can ask us, the network, on a subject of your choice, and we will put that out to all of our members, and it's got a really fast turnaround, so sort of 4 to 6 weeks. We'll write up all the results of the survey and pop it back to you, and obviously like for like, you can answer surveys which have been given by other professional bodies, which enables you to see what other professional bodies are asking around the globe, which could be really useful. You can also view a library of Ask the Network surveys online. So we've got over 250 of these, ranging back sort of 15 years, and you can access all of these in sort of PDF copies online. So that gives you an idea of how things have progressed and what other professional bodies are asking. And obviously there's other things available in the members area as well. So you've got case studies, you've got short videos that are made up, which we use in our training courses, and lots of other resources available to you as a digital member. So let's just look at what's new for PARN. Our big project at the moment is CPD. Here in the UK, we're running our conference on CPD this year, and we'll be producing a book on adaptability as well in December, which you'll receive as a digital member. And we've also got a number of consortium projects coming up, which you'll see there on your screen. So all of that research will eventually be made available on the website. So you'll always be kept up to date with our most recent research. So we're also new to LinkedIn, fairly new. We do have quite a lot of activity on there, so I'm not sure whether any of you are already sort of members of our LinkedIn groups. But we like to use this as a sort of forum where all of our members can ask any questions, ask for advice, and network with one another, other people who are working in a similar field to you. And we try to feed in our research to these forums as well. So it's a really good space to sort of get support and help. So let's just take a look now at some of the webinars that we've got coming up over the next year. So you should be able to see them on your screen now. We've got financial benchmarking in October, and that will be following our financial benchmarking report. The CPD and adaptability webinar, which we'll be holding in January, and various other ones throughout the year there. So we want to sort of keep you aware of what we're doing here at PARN and hopefully feed through our research through these webinars. So hopefully that has brought you up to speed with the new digital package and what's included. And what I'm going to do now is pass you over to Professor Andy Friedman, the CEO of PARN. So if you bear with me 1 second, you'll see him in 1 moment.
Hello, welcome. I'm Andy Friedman, the CEO of PARN, and you know, I can see myself here, and some of you have seen me in the past, and I have to say I probably look like I've aged considerably, but maybe it's just the weather we have here in England. What I want to talk to you about is our research project on managing member networks. We had a conference on this earlier this year, and we produced a book called Managing Member Networks. And I want to run through some of the results which we found. The research project was supported by 7 different professional bodies. You can see their logos there, some fairly substantial ones, well known in the UK as well as I think abroad. The research involved 49 responses to a survey as well as 10 case studies. We covered a wide number of subjects. I'm going to discuss the ones in red today, but just to tell you, in the book we've got information about how member networks are financed, recruitment, autonomy of groups and branches, particularly troublesome issue of the balance of identity and control of networks and trying to align them with the overall strategy of the professional body, looking at the impact of technology and the very critical question of how successful people regard their member networks and how they measure their success. So what I'm going to do now is deal with these first 2 questions, the extent and distribution of member networks. If you have a look there at a bit of a collage of the different types of member networks, what we have found is that member networks are indeed alive and well. Many people would say branch networks are a thing of the past, and it's difficult to get people to volunteer to support these networks. But what we found was that's not so. What in fact we found was that there is an elaboration of more types of networks. The branch network isn't dead. It's being supplemented by a large number of others. We've got networks, the the most substantial ones tend to be on industry and special interest groups, but there are also networks based on characteristics of members, such as their age or gender. There's also ones based on the position of the person connected to the professional body, that is, whether they're leaders or senior people within the profession. And there's also ones that are concerned with the activities that people undertake, such as mentoring or being an ambassador. And what we're going to do is run a little poll now to see what sorts of networks you've got. And we're going to be offering you 5 different options. And there they are on your screen. Do you have types of networks based on industry, young people, geographical, mentoring, or special interest or subject? So the poll is open now, and it would be great if you would vote and let us know what you have. I've got still some of you haven't yet voted. You can vote for more than one. I mean, whatever ones you actually have. I've got almost everybody now. We'll just give you one more minute for those of you who need to decide. Okay, let's close the poll now, and we will show you the results of the poll. Excuse me. So we can see from the poll that the majority, well, all of you who voted have special interest or subject-based groups, and a substantial number have geographic and ones for young people. I noticed none of you reported that you have groups based on mentoring or industry sector. And that's very interesting because I'm about to show you the results of our survey. And you can see there that, in fact, the very traditional member network, that based on geography branch network, almost all of the sample, that was 49 professional bodies in the UK, have a branch network. Almost just over 3/4 have the special interest group, and that was one that all of you who responded have. Roughly half have based on industry. But it's very interesting to see that in the UK, 39% have a network based on mentoring, even though, as you can see by the orange little graph at the bottom, relatively few of the professional body members participate in the mentoring groups. 39% of professional bodies have one, and the other one was for young people, and that has 37% have it, and it involves 14%. Okay, that's one subject. The next subject we want to think about is the support, tools and support for the member networks. One of the biggest issues concerned with member networks is the fact that they rely on volunteer effort, and there is a concern about how much support, what kinds of support the professional body ought to offer for them. And before I tell you about what the results of the survey were, we're going to do another very, very quick poll to ask you which kinds of support you offer. And you can see there that we've got 5 options for you. These are all ones that we found in the research are support member networks in the sample. So please, the poll is open now. Please let us know which ones do you support through your professional body. All right, we've got the voting is coming on fast and furious. We'll just leave it another couple of seconds. Okay, let's have a look at the results here. Well, it looks like all of you provide website resources, and most of you have guidelines and handbooks, but only half on-the-job training, only 25% formal training, and 25% online networks. So that's very interesting. Let's have a look at how that compares with the results of the survey that we carried out. So you can see here that the results are a bit different. Guidelines and handbooks, 72%, and web resources only 60%. It looks like the Canadians are more sophisticated in terms of website than those in the UK. On-the-job training, 51% is exactly the same percent as the sample of Canadian professional bodies attending this webinar. That's interesting. And formal training less, online networks and contracts is another one that we know. We didn't offer you that one, but a fairly substantial minority have contracts. I just want to pause with that contracts for a moment. I think in Canada and the United States there is a move towards giving volunteers contracts. It's a big problem in the UK because of employment legislation. And what we generally recommend is that you have agreements with volunteers rather than contracts that might look like employment contracts. And that might be an issue you might want to discuss with us at the end of this webinar, something to reflect on. Well, overall, I do want to just sum up the findings that we have from the research. As I said at the beginning, member networks are indeed alive and well, but becoming more elaborate, and professional associations are supporting them in various different ways. And the issue of control is a knotty problem. What is the balance of autonomy and control? It's not something that's easily solved. One of the ways of trying to exert the right amount of control is to allow the networks to develop their own programs, but to make sure that their programs are aligned with the overall strategy of the professional body. And there are various techniques which we report in the book about how to do that. The other thing is that a lot of professional bodies have found that they have lost some degree of control over finances by supporting their networks in various different ways, and things like having centralized bank accounts has been a particular trend. Also, accountability through setting targets is another way of maintaining control, but a light touch kind of control. And another problem, a specific issue, is that a number have found that while on the one hand they're desperate to find volunteers who will support the networks, sometimes some of the volunteers that they do find decide to make this their life's work and are not easily willing to move on and give others a chance. That can be a problem, and so a number of professional bodies in the UK have introduced limited terms of office for those running their networks. The last one I wanted to mention to you, which is one that was a bit surprising to us, and that was that the level of control that head office holds over the network seems to rise when we compare small professional bodies with medium-sized ones. But when we look at larger ones, those with over 20,000 members, the level of control seems to become more relaxed. And again, I throw that out to you as an issue for reflection. Well, thank you very much for listening to our report. And now we will throw it open and see if there are any questions that you have. Well, I have to say, so far, you're a rather reticent group. Right. I guess some of you may be typing in a question, and that might take some time for that to appear, possibly. Ah, hang on, we've got something here. Are there special member networks for women in professional associations? That's a good question. Well, we actually did find that 20% of professional bodies had particular networks for women. A lot fewer had for other groups, but we do know that in the UK there are some that have groups based on race and other characteristics, but the groups for women are the most common in the UK of that type of professional body network. I'm just looking to see if there are any other questions. I'm told there's another one, but I can't see it. Can you see? Yes, Ruby will answer that.
Hi, Brian. I hope you can hear me. Hi, Brian. I hope you can hear me. So Brian's asked that we have some interesting webinars scheduled, and will we be scheduling any more webinars? We're aiming to run about 4 webinars a year, so I think if we go back to the slides with our scheduled webinars, you'll see that there are a couple, more than 2 hopefully, that you can see over the next year. As I said, it will be about 4 a year, so bear with us, we're just running through. And there you can see that we're planning on having financial benchmarking, CPD in January, engaging retaining members in May, and then the rest will sort of be leading on in 2016. So they are sort of subject to change, but we will be running one for each of our major research projects and one for our financial benchmarking report launch. So I hope that answers your question. Thanks.
If I can just add, can you hear me? Yes. If I can just add, all of the different research projects, the major research projects, will involve webinars. We'll very much try and keep you up with that. We are also interested in getting your feedback as to whether there are any particular issues that you think we ought to be investigating. Most of our research really comes from information we've gathered from our members as to what their interests are, and we will certainly provide opportunity for the international digital members to feed in and to help shape our agenda for research projects for the future. It might be something you just want to think about. Okay, well, I think we've reached the end of this. Thank you very, very much for attending. There is a chance that, as some of you know, I am Canadian, and there is a chance that I will be coming to Canada fairly soon to visit family, as well as visiting our members in Canada, particularly those in Ontario or Manitoba. Thank you very much for attending.